So they
Right.
want to go on and do something else, anything else. They don't care what it is. So the first thing we have to do is just kind of figure out, okay, what's that pain that's being there? And it's usually you're doing the wrong stuff in your business. So, and they don't know how to delegate.
Right.
The hardest skill to learn for somebody in business is how to be an effective and good delegator.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, with my father's construction business, for example, we got him. I did work for him for about 3 years, and that's where we became an Owens Corning certified contractor, and we were preferred contractor. It was called, able to use the Pink Panther everywhere. Something that I think really set us apart was that we also had maintenance plans on our roofs for coverage, to where we had predictable recurring revenue through these maintenance plans that we were doing back in the mid 2000s, which nowadays that stuff is probably more common. I don't know. I've been out of the industry for a while. Back then, it wasn't as common. It was kind of like roofing as a service, I guess you could say. But when we built up the business, instead of him doing $150,000 a year, with him and a crew of 4 people in
Mhm.
rural Pennsylvania, when we built it up to where we had 3 people going, being able to delegate tasks to, hey, you're the foreman, you're running this crew, you're doing that. In the beginning, it was a struggle. It was hard for him to do. And it took him a while to really get a hang of being able to do that.
Yeah, well, it's a very difficult skill to learn. People either over supervise or they under supervise. They rarely get it right. My first
Right.
mentor in business had a great saying. He called it EIA. That stood for expect, inspect, accept. It was his method of how to manage delegation. You set up an expectation, you inspect and make sure it's done the way you want it, and then you accept the work. But I've actually added to that is you often don't accept the work. You have to go back and reset expectations because you weren't very clear or very good in how you set the
Right.
expectation. And likely when you got around to inspecting, it was 2 or 3 or 4 weeks later, not 3 or 4 days to say, how are things going?
Right, right, right. And, again, even with my current job right now, I tell my director of professional services, who implements all of our projects. I mean, our 2 of our key focus areas are setting the correct expectations and also framing. How do we frame the message? Because we've got to make sure that they understand, while we're also setting the right expectations. Like, hey, you just can't call us up and expect us to drop everything and do an 8-hour project for you on the dot. We got to get that into our consulting queue, and there's probably a 1 week delay now. If it's things like that that take a little bit, I think, for some people to be able to really learn and master how to do. But once they do that, I think it makes their lives so much easier.
Yeah. Well, if you want to have a business that's fun to run, you have to become operationally free from your business. If you want someone who's anxious to buy your business, you have to be out of the day to day operations.
Right.
If you want to have a business that can grow, you have to be operationally free because you have to work on strategy in your business and you have to learn how to build a team that can run your business.
Hmm.
So, I mean, your father's company, he was stuck at 4 or 5 people. I'm sure he tried delegation. I'm sure it wasn't very successful. And I'm sure he said, oh, I can't delegate because it doesn't work.
Right. Right. That's exactly how it was up until I pushed him to hire a foreman that ultimately was in charge